The South African Human Rights Commission is set to investigate alleged racial and xenophobic utterances by Sports Minister McKenzie. The investigation follows several complaints from political parties and individuals regarding the social media posts by McKenzie. For more on this, we are joined by Professor Tsepo Madlingozi, who's the Commissioner at the South African Human Rights Commission. Prof, good to have you on the program this evening. Thank you for joining us. Let's begin with the basics here. What prompted the Commission to formally investigate Minister McKenzie's social media posts, and what makes them a potential violation of the Equality Act?
Well, good evening, Nhlanhla, and good evening to your listeners. Thank you for having us. We got notice of the post when they resurfaced from social media. Members of the public started, of course, taking our organization and bringing complaints to us. But secondly, we received a lot of complaints from members of the public, from political parties, and from NGOs. So we are investigating this in terms of our complaints handling procedure, because we received complaints from members of the public, but also because we ourselves have seen those posts. Now, the use of the K-word as they are used in the post by Minister McKenzie. Those posts, the use of the K-word has been declared unlawful. The use of the K-word to quote the Constitutional Court is unutterable. No one may utter those words, whether it's as a joke, whether it's as hyperbole. They are completely unutterable. And the court has made it very clear that it is one of the most offensive slurs that one can use. So that's one set of complaints relating to the use of the K-word, which might fall foul of Section 10 of the Equality Act. The second set of complaints relates to alleged xenophobic statements and utterances by the minister. These complaints have been coming in the past few months, and we've put them together. And the complaint here is that some of the statements and utterances by the minister may fall foul of the Equality Act in terms of harassment. Harassment here defined as making utterances that create a hostile environment or seeks to demean a group based on one of the prohibited grounds, including origin.
Yeah, but given Minister McKenzie's current leadership role in government, how does the Commission then view the ethical responsibility of public officials, especially in relation to past statements that may incite or even reinforce racism or xenophobia that we speak of?
No, absolutely. That's why in our statements we are very, very clear that given the Honourable Minister's position, it behooves of him to behave even more responsibly, to take an exemplary, to be exemplary in the eyes of the public. Of course, the minister also took an oath of office. That oath of office is very clear that the minister will not only uphold the Constitution, but that the minister will promote the Constitution. So the use of the K-word, as I said, there is no controversy here. There is no, doubt that the use of the K-word should not be used by anyone. And, people have been saying, but these posts, as you are asking me, were made, long time ago. The fact of the matter is that the offenses under the Equality Act do not prescribe. That's one. Number two, because the posts have been there, the harm is ongoing. The harm continues, and the alleged offense is still there. So we are calling on the minister. We've sent the minister an allegation letter, calling on the minister to respond to us not later than the 20th of this month, where we are asking four things. Number one, for the minister to remove those posts. Number two, for the Honourable Minister to make a public apology, in a form that is agreed upon with the South African Human Rights Commission. Number three, for the minister to undergo sensitivity training. And number four, to pay to a charity that can be agreed together with the Human Rights Commission.
But while we wait for the minister's response, Minister McKenzie has defended himself. He said he's being targeted for speaking out against anti-coloured prejudice. Now, does this defense then hold weight in the Commission's assessment of the complaints?
No, I mean, what we want to do is to litigate this matter in public. all I can say is three things. One, we investigate in terms of the South African Human Rights Commissions Act of 2013. We investigate without fear, favor, or prejudice. We investigate on the basis of complaints that we get. In this particular case, we even open our own accord investigation, where we've looked at the post, where we've looked at the statements, and we've come to a prima facie assessment and conclusion that the posts are offensive. That's number one. Number two, of course, when it comes to the statements that were made on the Open Chat podcast, we did make a statement last week that we have sent a letter to the host and the producers of that podcast. We can confirm that on Monday we will be having a meeting with them. They have agreed to abide to all of our demands, and therefore we acted with speed when it comes to the Open Chat podcast, where we condemned, where we even sent a demand letter, and the host and the producers have completely abided by what we're saying. So the idea that the South African Human Rights Commission will be manipulated by anyone to investigate anyone, that kind of utterances is unfortunate.
Let's explore this thought a bit further. Critics are arguing, including Action SA, for instance, they've questioned the Commission's effectiveness, especially in politically charged cases. How do you respond to those who say the Commission doesn't act swiftly or decisively enough, especially where powerful individuals are involved, like Minister McKenzie?
The post surfaced over the weekend. Before the end of the week, we've sent a clear letter to Mr. McKenzie. We've made a prima facie assessment. We have given the minister not, many days to respond to the letter. So we've acted swiftly. In our statements, we've made it very, very clear that the use of the K-word by anyone is unacceptable following the decision by the Constitutional Court. Number two, you'll recall the matter with Mr. Ronaldo House, who was a former MP. We also acted swiftly there. We took the matter to court. Eventually, we reached a very clear settlement where Mr. House apologized and, is undergoing sensitivity training. The same I can say with Mr. Notabaloy. I can list so many cases where we are doing so. Apart from these cases that have to deal with the right to equality and dignity, we've also acted to hold the state accountable. You recall that this year I chaired an inquiry into load reduction, where we're seeking to understand from the state why is load reduction only happening in the townships and in villages. And of course, the Minister of Electricity and Energy came to the commission. So there is no matter that we do not take. We have proved ourselves to be effective, whether it has to do with the use of the K-word, whether it has to do with hate speech, or whether it has to do with broader socio-economic rights.
So this controversy, Prof, has triggered heated debate around race, issues of identity, and also the historical trauma, especially between Black and coloured communities. How do you see the Commission's role in helping the country then navigate these tensions beyond the courtroom, for instance?
Yes, no, we seek to move away from only attending to issues of racism and hate speech, on a reactive basis. So this year, my office launched a 6-year campaign entitled Promoting a Culture of Human Rights through the Resolution of the National Question. Now, this is a campaign that we started last year in March, and we launched it this year beginning of this year. And as you can hear from the name of the campaign, Resolving the National Question, our view is that at the root cause of the systemic human rights violations that are happening in South Africa is the failure to forge a nation, is the failure to forge a collective sense of belongingness. And this has to do with the fact that as a country, we have not done enough to continue the work of nation building, number one. Number two, we've not been honest about the unfinished business of decolonization. The very, very difficult question about redress, redistribution, and reparation. And therefore, what we are doing with this 6-year campaign is that we've started a campaign where we are focusing very, very clearly on the root causes of, as you say, divisions amongst races, through dialogues, through sensitivity training, but also through strategic litigation. We are quite right that as a country, we cannot be reactive, get excited every time that there is a controversy. But we need a systemic approach that will not be only about dialogues, but it will be about how do we forge a nation where everyone feels a sense of affective and material belongingness.
As we start wrapping down our conversation, and also in light of these events, what message, Prof, would you like to send to South Africans, especially young people in this country, about issues on free expression, dignity and accountability in our democracy, our young democracy?
Well, first of all, I would like to say to young people, please continue talking, continue to be robust, continue to push the envelope, continue to be controversial, continue using social media as a platform for alternative expression, as a platform for debates and contestation. So we encourage that. It's a lifeblood of democracy, and young people should not feel scared and should not self-censor. However, the Constitution is very clear, Section 16, as well as the Equality Act, that the right to freedom of expression is limited. You cannot propagate hatred, and you cannot incite violence. So as long as you are doing your advocacy within the confines of the Constitution, you'll be okay. But secondly, as a country, we need to have a very different conversation about identity. That's why we have termed this campaign the national question. Who are we? Last year, I published an op-ed where I said, is it not time that we let go of the racial categories that we've inherited from apartheid? Racial categories that are non-scientific, non-biological, that only seeks to divide us. Of course, we can use them for redress, but what are we losing and gaining by retaining those racial categories? So it is about having those difficult conversations, and we hope that in the next 6 years, through this campaign, but also through swiftly acting to hold accountable the state where it fails to dismantle spatial apartheid, it fails to hold perpetrators of apartheid and today's perpetrators accountable, but also powerful corporates that have to come to the party in terms of contributing to social justice. We hope that as we do this, we will go on to build a society that is truly non-racial and non-sexist.
Professor Tsepo Madlingozi, the Commissioner at the South African Human Rights Commission, thank you for your time and for shedding light on this critical and complex matter as well.